Greetings all. In this video I'm going to be making a possessed Space Marine. For the base of this model I'm going to be using parts from the Chaos Space Marines kit and the Slangors from Age of Sigmar to give a Slaanesh flair to them, as they're going to be part of my Empress Children army. As I was planning to use a fair bit of green stuff on the head, I decided to start with this so it had some time to set as I worked on the rest of the model. For this I'm going to be using the back half of the Slangor head and the front of a head from the Reaver kit to give it a nice horrific skull-faced visage. The first step in this would be removing the front half of the Reaver head with my clippers to get the front of the head, then trimming both the Reaver head and the Slangor head parts with my knife until I was happy with the fit, before taking the other half of the Slangor head, as I would need to take the back off of this. Once this is done, I could glue all of the parts together, though I was not worried too much about gaps here, as I am going to cover this area with some green stuff. After giving the head a little time to set, I would need to mix together some green stuff putty, and making a small sausage and a ball, I could first cover the join area and then around the forehead area, blending these in with each other and the Slangor's hood parts to make a hooded skull face for my possessed. This would then be set aside to harden for a couple of hours before cleaning up the whole thing with my knife and files to fix any mistakes made in the previous step. To begin the body, as I am using the Chaos Marines from the Start Collecting set, I will need to separate the body from the legs with my saw. I'm going to be doing this just above the belt wrap here, as this will help tie in the Slangor body later. I also felt that I should remove the knife and grenades attached to the Marine's waist, as a horrifically mutated Marine with claws probably won't be needing those anymore. With the legs now removed, I can glue them together and let them set, whilst moving on to the Slangor's body. This would once again be sawn in half, just above the fancy belt. This is about the right size to fit onto the Space Marine body, and once it has been cleaned up, I could add the shoulder pad from the Slangor kit to give me a nice Slaanesh symbol on his chest, and once that one is done, the body can be glued into place onto the Marine's legs. Now onto the arms. I am going to be using the arms from the Slangor kit. The right arm, however, I was going to take the arm that was holding an axe from the kit. Now it's just a stick, as I use the axe head for my ethereal. I plan to use these spiked wheels I've got here from the Seeker Chariot to form a vicious looking mace head. To do this, I just needed to trim off the studs at the top of the handle a little, as with them gone the wheels could slide nicely onto it, and adding some glue to the handle I could attach them in place to finish the mace hand. With that done, I can then glue the mace hand to the body and then take one of the claw arms for the other side. Once the arms have been attached and the putty on the head has hardened, it can then be glued in place on the body, leaving one final touch. For, whilst it has Space Marine legs, it could do with a little more to sell it as a corrupted Marine. For this, I'm going to add a shoulder pad from the Chaos Space Marines kit. This will fit on the left shoulder, although due to the angle of it, it's going to need some more green stuff added at the back to help hold it in place. With that done, the first one is finished, but I have quite a lot of unused parts. So, attaching the lower half of the Slangor body to the legs, I could use this with the removed Space Marine torso to make another possessed Marine. I would first remove both the chainsword hand and the pistol hand with my clippers. Saving them into my bits box, these would be replaced later on with clawed appendages. Where the torso attaches to the legs, it would need to have an adjustment, as the pipes that run down from the chest plate would look out of place using these legs. So with my knife, I carved them away to represent bare skin, and once that is done, it can then be glued onto the assembled legs. With the main body done, I can move on to the arms. I have one claw arm from the Slangor kit, and a spike from a Seeker Chariot. The spike would need the bottom of it trimmed off, as it has a notch in it, and it is slightly larger in circumference than the Space Marines. I trimmed the edges a little with my knife, so it was closer in size to the Space Marine wrist area. All trimmed down, this one can then be glued into place. The right arm would be the claw, but again, I would need to trim this down to just below the elbow area with my clippers before it can be added to the arm with some plastic glue. Once the arms are on, I could then add a backpack and a head from the Chaos Space Marine kit to bring this model to a close. And there we have it, 2 possessed Chaos Space Marines. I used this technique on another of the Slangor bodies I had to make a total of 4 of these guys for my army, although I did use a goat head instead of a Reaver skull for one of the others. And here we have a couple of them painted up and ready to join the rest of my army charging across the tabletop, if I ever manage to get a game in. A big thank you for watching, and I hope you got some ideas for making your own possessed Chaos Space Marines. Since making my Venom Crawler, I've wanted to use the remaining Slangor to make some possessed, as their bulky bodies and claw arms seemed perfect to me for a mutated worshipper of Slaanesh. If you like this video, consider subscribing if you're not already, and I shall see you next time. Stay safe, and have a good one all.